Welcome to the Hardcore Closer Podcast. I'm Ryan Stewman, founder of HardcoreCloser.com, and this podcast is all about helping you, the salesperson, close more sales. And look, whether you're selling cars, homes, financial services, consulting, whatever it is that you sell, this podcast is dedicated to help you generate higher quality leads, increase your closing ratios, and show you how to charge premium fees for the items you sell so you can get paid what you're worth. Welcome to episode 59 of the THC podcast. And look, I'm glad that you're here. If you're a first time that you're here, look, I'm excited for you. There's at least 58 other episodes that you can check out. Maybe you're making your way through all of them and there's more than that. That's awesome. If you've been here more than once, if you've listened to more than one of these episodes, I need you to do me one small favor. I'll continue to crank out content every single week like clockwork on Tuesdays with my man, low energy producer Robert, every single week on Tuesdays. But I need you to leave me a review in iTunes. If you don't leave me a review in iTunes, they don't know I exist. They don't give me no love. And you know there's no love for the Hardcore Closer other than the Hardcore Closer fans out there. So I need your help. If you dig this and you come to it every week and you listen to it, man, leave me a review on iTunes. If you don't have iTunes, if you listen on Android or YouTube, just say something, leave me a comment, like just get engaged. And the reason is it's not because I want a bunch of 5-star reviews to have the #1 show on iTunes. That's all great and everything. But what that does is that helps me reach more people. Every time you comment, every time you share, every time you leave me a review, every time you engage, that helps me get in front of more people. And I'm passionate about the sales community because sales is the only thing in my life that's never abandoned me. And I want to help salespeople, and I want to get in front of 300 million salespeople. And all I'm asking you is to do your small part to help that goal of mine and help change the lives of those 300 million people, just like maybe one of these episodes has changed your life. And let me give you a good example. We always read reviews every single week on this show. And right here it says, it's a sales must and 5 stars by my man, Cell Phone Jesus. Now that is awesome. See, this is why I love this show. You guys, y'all leave me comments and stuff like this. Like, what was it last week? Do you remember, Robert? What was the guy last week? Do you remember? It was pretty damn good, though, right?
Socks or something. Remember?
Socks. Exactly, right? And maybe it was stocks, maybe it was stocks. But I like how you pitch it. Right here, this guy, 5 stars by my man, Cell Phone Jesus. By the way, if you've never watched Black Jesus on Adult Swim on the Cartoon Network, that shit is hilarious. Got Charlie Murphy, Eddie's brother from the Chappelle Show and stuff. Dude, it's hilarious. Anyway, Cell Phone Jesus gives us 5 stars, says the sales must, says this podcast is unbelievable. I mean, this guy helped me get promoted just by listening to the podcast and taking his information. He's made my job easier and made me more money. Now, how badass is that? That's what I'm talking about. Just by listening to this show, my quality of life is improved. That's basically what Cell Phone Jesus is trying to tell us. And listen, I know Robert's Jewish, but listen, you got to listen to Jesus, man. He was a good man, especially from the South. You got to have you some Jesus, Robert, especially some Cell Phone Jesus. I bet he'd be selling the shit out of some cell phones and getting raises and everything else. I love it. All right, so let's jump into the episode 5, public speaking tips that'll make you a better presenter. Now, here's the thing. Some of you listen to this, and Robert mentioned it in the beginning of the show when we were going over the notes. He's like, a lot of salespeople probably don't think that they need to be public speakers. And that's stinking thinking. First of all, you got to expand the norm. And in the past, public speaking and speaking engagements, speaking presentations were just people that got up in front of a group of people or got up on the stage or something of that nature. But now we have webinars, videos, Snapchats, Instagram stories. Hell, I think they have Holy Bible stories at this moment. They're putting stories everywhere. The little circle things that pop up. So I've been seeing too many memes where they just put stories on all this like archaic technology. It's pretty funny. But the reason why I say that is public speaking has evolved. And it's important that you become a public speaker for a couple things. The #1 fear in America isn't nuclear war with Russia. It's public speaking. We're scared that if we get up in front of people and we take a stance for something that we'll be judged and we'll look like an idiot. That is a huge fear, a huge fear. And so once you overcome that and you step outside of that fear, you're able to be like, hey, look at me. I'm fearless. I am a fearless bastard. And so when you get up in front of a room full of people and you're fearless, you command authority, you instantly become the expert. And that's why public speaking is important. When you're a salesperson, instead of pitching people one-on-one, a master salesperson has multiple tools in their belt. We talk about, if you go to hcwebinar.com, you can sign up for our recent webinar, hcwebinar.com, where I teach you how to go from a gunslinger, a person that gets one-on-one, a person that picks up the phone, to a terminator, which is a person that can close the room, can close on video, can close via text message, can close via chat. And so you need to have public speaking, and your ability to close via video, via webinar, and from the stage is part of the tools in your terminator sales belt. So if you're sitting there thinking, well, public speaking, this episode's not really for me, I can tell you that it's easier for me to get in front of a room of 500 people like I did last weekend at the GKIC event in Orlando, Florida, the Glacier Kennedy Insider Circle event. It was easier for me to get in front of 500 people and walk out of there with around $14,000 that month cash. My stuff's recurring too, so that means I'll get it again next month. But it was easier for me to do that than it was for me to walk out and try to have conversations with enough people to make $14,000 at $297 a pop. I go in, spend 1 hour, stage presentation, speak in front of everybody, call them to action. Now, it hadn't always been this way, though. I've got this down to a point, and I want to tell you a story about how it all started. I remember I got a ticket in the mail to a Get Motivated seminar. Many of you out there have probably seen those, and it was the last Get Motivated seminar that my neighbor Zig Ziglar was ever going to go to. He was getting old, he was delusional, and man, I really wish that I wouldn't have went, to be honest with you, because I got to see him in really bad shape, and you just don't like to see your heroes like that. You know what I mean? I get a little choked up thinking about it. And so while I was there, there was a dude that pitched the whole 30,000 people inside the American Airlines stadium. And he had like a normal, I think his name was James Smith. And this guy, I watched tens of thousands of people get up and go rush to buy the real estate training course that he was selling. Later on in my professional career, I'd find out that that guy was personally trained by my man, Marshall Silver, who is one of the best stage closers, and I've seen him in action too. He's one of the best stage closers out there. If you want to watch a real closer, and this is coming from me, you guys pay close attention. If you want to watch a real closer, it's these old school guys like Ron LeGrand and Marshall Silver that didn't have the internet, and they didn't get to edit their videos, and they didn't have all these effects. They had to get out there, hypnotize the audience, neurolinguistically program them, and fucking dominate. Those guys are beasts. Those guys are bigger beasts. They're like the guys that could cold call on Wall Street back in the day, that could raise, $1 million one call close or $10 million one call close from a cold call. Like, those guys just don't really exist anymore. And these guys like Marshall Silver and Ron LeGrand and them, man, Robert Allen's another one, James Smith, the guy that I just talked about, dude, those guys have made millions upon millions upon millions of dollars, buckets upon buckets of cash, because of their ability to close from the stage. Now, one of the things that I do is I teach people how to close via video stage, right? You're basically your public speaking, because especially it all started with the loan officers. And so, well, let me back up. I got a little ADD there on us, my bad. So first, when I watched this guy close tens of thousands of people in the audience, I thought, well, shit, man, I got to figure out how this is done. Because I had been closing things for Robert Allen and their little side things. They would hire us out. And I would close like, we get a room full of 100. And I close like, 10, maybe 15 people if I was lucky, which is pretty good. It was above average closing percentages. But I'm watching this guy close a damn stadium full of fucking people. And I'm like, how am I going to get on that? So as time would pass in the near future, I would start doing videos and everything else, and I would do 5 years worth of videos before anybody decided to watch them, give a shit about them, or any of that good stuff. But I learned the art of public speaking, even though people didn't watch my stuff. And you may be in this situation right now too. You might be like, damn, people just don't watch my shit, but it's all good. They will. You just got to keep making it. The world's sitting there trying to tell you that nobody wants to watch your shit so that you'll be a fucking pussy and give up like everybody else who fucking doesn't give up. But I heard a very inspirational man named Sean Stevenson one time say, what if 6 people watch your video? And you think, well, 6 people watching my videos, not a lot. But what if 6 people died in a car accident in your neighborhood tonight? You'd be like, wow, that's a lot of dead people. He's like, so it's all relevant. What if you impact 6 lives that cause them to go on and make a tremendous breakthrough in their life, even though they never say nothing about you, but you make a dramatic change in only 6 people's lives? Then it was totally worth making that. Just keep doing what you're doing, folks. Now, back to the public speaking thing. I've had, experience where I really felt like I wasn't being judged because people didn't watch my shit. And so I made these videos forever. But recently, within the last couple of years, I've started speaking from the stage, and that's what we'll talk about here. But I've also taught the people that work for me how to speak from the stage. And like I was getting into earlier, I took the loan officers that I started training, and I taught them what we call the magnetic media social presentation. That's something that we work on in the tribe. And I teach them how to get in front of real estate agents and talk about something other than interest rates. And really, it works for anybody now. But at the time, we were focused on loan officers and how to get in front of real estate agents and generate referrals without being boring and talking about mortgages. And so I've not only spoke from the stage myself, I've helped a lot of loan officers and other business owners. I'm building a webinar right now with Adolfo Cannon from Colorado on how to do investment stuff and help him get into the public speaking arena. I'm telling you, there's a lot of money in it. And as a salesperson, if you can get 100 people on a webinar, 100 people in a room, or 100 people to watch your video, that's a lot better than doing things face to face. So here, that's something you should deeply consider. So here's what you've got to do. I think here's been my personal experience about what you have to do to become a good speaker, to have a good stage presence, to be somebody that folks want to watch. And I'm going to give you 5 quick reasons here. So number 1, you want to be yourself. If there's one compliment, I don't know if it's a fucking compliment or an insult at this point, but if there's one thing that people always say to me, they say, "I like you, Ryan, because you're just you." Yesterday, I had to have a conversation with a close friend, a close business partner. It's like, "Hey, man, you got to be careful when you get involved in me, because I'm going to be me. And I know you have a lot of relationships and stuff like that, and I'm going to be me. And I don't want to mess that up for you. So just be like, let's just know up front, get into that, because I've got to be myself. I can't pretend. Like, if I don't like you, I just don't like you, right? I'm not the pretend person. I can't be fake. I've just got to be myself. And I think that's why people watch me. I think half of them are watching because, like, at any minute now, this motherfucker's going to have a meltdown and become a total shit show. And the other half are like, "I like this dude. He just fucking shoots straight from the hip, and you don't bullshit, and it is what it is." But either way, it allows them, and that's the thing about being a salesperson, is we got thick skin. But either way, it allows them to make that judgment. And some people will, some people won't, and so fucking what, right? Number 2, you got to be able to command attention. This weekend when I was at GKIC, and I give usually the similar presentation when I speak, because I have it down to a pat. I know what all it does, but I gave the presentation. One of the first things that happens is I have a video I come out to, okay? And, while everybody else, they just have, next up on the main stage is Bambi twerking it for her kids tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Like, I have an actual video that plays, and it goes dark in the room, and it talks about, I've never had a salary job, and after 2 times in prison, and people in the audience ain't used to all that shit no matter where I go, because I'm over the top. So as soon as that happens, they're like, "This video's fucking crazy. This guy's dropping F-bombs in it, and he's like yelling and screaming and stuff like that, and like it's hyping everybody up." And as soon as I hit the stage, I make them scream after me. "I am a marketer. I am an entrepreneur. I am in sales. I am a closer." And I make them scream that shit, man. I command attention. I make sure that they get in compliance, because I'm going to have them pumped the fuck up, because when I take the stage, the motherfucking circus is in town. You know what I'm saying? We got ringleaders and fucking elephants dancing and fires exploding in the background and me pacing back and forth like I came to fucking bring it. And I'm going to be there. I'm going to keep your attention. If I'm going to be in that room and I got to spend my time there, I'm going to make the most of it. Now, look, I understand that not everybody can be the damn circus like I can, but at the same time, you're there to command attention. Don't be scared to look weird. Don't be scared to think that you might be douchey. Get motherfuckers up there, get their attention, get them riled up. That's what they're looking for, man. And if you'll own it, they'll own it with you. Number 3, which brings me to number 3, you got to blow the audience's mind, right? Can you imagine when I'm up there on the stage and I'm telling this story last weekend to a group of millionaire business owners, and I'm saying 9 years ago I was sweating my ass off inside solitary confinement in a federal prison. But now I live in one of the nicest neighborhoods in North Texas. I have the dream companion. I'm father to 3 sons. I go and I tell them about, I'm a millionaire, liquid, I have assets, like all these things that I go out there and talk to them about. I'm blowing their mind. And what happens is I'm also blowing their objections away. They can't say, "Will this work for me?" because it worked for me. They can't say, "Well, this guy got money from a JV, or this dude has this partnership or this relationship that he's leveraged, or this, that, and the other." Nah, motherfucker, I did it all alone. All alone. And that blows people's mind that you can come from such a subterranean climb all the way up to, and I won't say that I'm at the damn top of the mountain, because clearly there's guys that are OG in this industry that are doing better than me, but at the same time, I'm blowing their mind with what's possible in that comeback story. Number 4, I think is important, and is you want to give thanks to the host. What I learned from my homie Garrett J. White was if you give a good testimonial, they'll put your name out there. So I've always given really good testimonials. And so when I took the stage at GKIC, and actually when I took the stage at EGS for Kinder Reese last year, there was about 800 people there. I said, hey, before we get started, I just want to thank Mike and Jay. And without them, not only would it be impossible that I'd be on this stage, but it'd be impossible that I'd be a millionaire in this business doing what I love, building a life my way. Here's what happened. And I talked about the host before I got into it. Before I got into GKIC, I said, first of all, let's just, give a hand together for the previous speaker, was a guy named Ollie Bilson. I'd also like to give a hand to Nick and AJ and Dan and Bill and all the GKIC, man. I appreciate you guys having faith in me to get up here and do this and inviting me here. And the event that you've put on is absolutely awesome. You guys are the greatest. I'm just totally thankful. Let's give them one more round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. And I want to make sure that I feed back, because the host is there to make money. The host is there to get attention. So it's our job to make sure that we edify that for them. That's like hitting the like button on somebody's Facebook post, right? It's our job to edify that for them. So we need to make sure that we give thanks to them. It's going to make them feel good about it. They're going to feel like we promoted them. They're going to ask us to come back, and they're going to feel like we did what they wanted. A lot of people just get up there and get right into it and become selfish. When you give back first, I think that makes a huge difference. And that's just my heart anyway. That's not like some manufactured sales tactic. That's just my heart, and it's worked really well for me. Number 5, final one, if you're going to be good, is you got to engage the crowd. What I do is I like to write offers for people. I say, you, sir, what do you sell? Okay, cool. How to do X without Y? Like I write an offer for them. You, sir, what do you sell? What objections do you get? And I have people give me objections, and I handle them right there on the spot. Well, during the time while I'm talking, I have the audience raise their hand with me. I say, anybody raise your hand if that's you? Raise your hand. Anybody? Who's that? Nobody? Come on, somebody raise your hand. Like I'll sit there and demand that somebody raise their hand in order to get them engaged, right? I'm going to ask questions that challenge the audience. I'm going to make them laugh. I'm going to get them in on my inside jokes that by the time I'm done talking and I'm making jokes about kangaroos and shit, they get it. They become part of our culture. You know what I'm saying? And so that's like the whole thing is to engage the crowd. So let me talk to you about the 5 ways. Let me give you the quick recap, because I'm telling you as a salesperson, you need to step in front of people. And this works for video. If you're shooting live in video, engage the crowd. If you're shooting live video, give a shout out to Mark Zuckerberg for providing you the video. I'm just kidding. Blow the audience's mind, the stuff that you can do. Command attention. Most importantly, be yourself when you're out there. Don't try to be this fake manufactured person. I've tried that before. And I'm telling you, I really people lost respect and lost a lot of values for me, because they can find a carbon copy of somebody else, somebody who's politically correct. Those people exist everywhere. You want to be you. So that's my thoughts there. So quick recap was number 1, be yourself. 2, command attention. Number 3, be ready to blow their mind. Number 4, give gratitude to the host. Number 5, engage the crowd. Head over to elevatortothetop.com and get a free paperback copy of my best-selling book on sales. Make sure you're signed up over at hcwebinar.com. We're going to put on this From Gunslinger to Terminator webinar for you. It's going to be bad. It's going to be awesome. So with that being said, sign up for the webinar, grab your copy of the book, make sure you leave me a review, and check out the next episode. Later.